show. We're bringing up UFC 300 because UFC 300 took place in Las Vegas this weekend. Dana White promised a top flight card, unlike anything fans had ever seen before, and the fighters are the ones that delivered. It feels silly to start anywhere else other than Max Holloway finishing Justin Gaethje in the final second of the 5th round to win the BMF belt. The win finally gives the BMF belt loads of legitimacy that it needed, because even the way Max Holloway won the belt was worthy of the BMF. For those unfortunate enough not to have seen the fight yet, Max Holloway pointed to the center of the octagons with seconds on the clock to offer Justin one more chance to win the fight before time expired. The always game but beaten Justin Gaethje answered the call, stepping in and trading blows until Holloway's hook connected squarely on the chin, sending him crashing to the canvas. Just 1 second left in the fight. This is not the first time Max Holloway has done this either. Fans can find this fight versus Ricardo Lamas. An identical situation. Holloway points identically to the center of the octagon to trade despite being seconds away from a victory on the scorecards. The moment with Ricardo Lamas has been a long-standing favorite of mine. It's a scene that I envision in my head countless times. I like to say, give it your best shot. If you've already given it your best shot, give it your last shot. I built that off of the same feelings I get watching Max point to the center of a ring right there, final seconds, everything already in the bag, but the man just loves to fight, Jake. The man is the BMF. He has always been the BMF, and people have always been wondering, what is the BMF? Is it important? Does it matter? Well, the UFC answers, because they finally unite the belt with the rightful owner and Max Holloway. So I want to hear just what were your thoughts on the fight. Now, you didn't get to watch the fight. I was watching the fight, and I was messaging you saying, you're going to have to watch this fight. And you watched the fight on Tuesday, so go ahead and give us the breakdown.
Yeah, so I saw the fight on Tuesday, and I knew what was going to happen. I knew Max Holloway was going to win with 1 second left, but the way that he did it, where, he tells him, like, come here, like you said, one last shot, and then he just, boom. I mean, it was something else. It was amazing.
I think about Jorge Masvidal and what he said right here is, I think he just got it correct. He said Max is your favorite fighter's favorite fighter, and it's because he's everybody's favorite fighter. You watch him, and there's so much passion in the moment, right? That's what it's all about. The fighting is so much more than two men finding out which one is better. It's more than that, because fans, oh, okay, interesting, whatever. But when you fight with the passion that Max does, it makes you understand how he has the fan base that he does, how he has accrued such a loyal following that's able to show up anywhere, including Las Vegas. Despite him coming from Hawaii and pretty much just repping Hawaii, he doesn't represent like the United States of America, and that's one of the few distinctions. Like, you'll get these guys from Nevada or Minnesota, and they're not repping Minnesota. They're repping, the United States of America, and to see Max Holloway, huge following, despite focusing really on a smaller community, it's awesome. It makes waves. I think that's what's most important here. Who should Max Holloway put the BMF belt on the line for?
I'm going to go with Ilia Topuria. I think that would be pretty interesting. He's been on an undefeated run in the UFC since 2015, but Holloway, it seems that he's gotten better with every fight. Plus, I don't know if you heard about this, but Topuria kind of called Holloway out on social media. He also told ESPN Deportes that he said that the knockout was good, but he said it was nothing special. So which is crazy to me. But I think a little bit of blood between these two, I guess, but I would love to see these two fight.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and give you that backstory there. It's a good backstory. I'm glad you caught on to that. Max Holloway wanted to fight and felt like he deserved to fight with Topuria before this fight. Not saying that he should have fought him without. He obviously had a fight scheduled, was focused on that fight, but it was really Ilia Topuria going out of the way saying Max Holloway does not deserve to fight me. And why not? Max Holloway, first of all, Max Holloway now is, in my eyes, in the running to fight at featherweight if he wants to. But if he does, You got to look at, all these different people. I want to go down the rankings of featherweight for you real quick. Of course, we got Ilia Topuria. Number 1 is Volkanovski. Then number 2 is Max Holloway. 3, Brian Ortega. Max Holloway's beat him. Number 1, Volkanovski, we've talked about. They've already had 3 matches. It's not really that exciting. Yair Rodriguez, Max Holloway's beat him. Arnold Allen's number 6. Max Holloway's beat him. Josh Emmett, I don't need to see that. Calvin Kattar, number 9. Max Holloway beat him. There's obviously Max Holloway's had his way with most of the people in this division just because he's been winning for so long. Other than Ilia Topuria and the belt, what do you do? Because the only other name I haven't mentioned that is of extreme relevance here is Movsar Iloev. And interesting, but I don't know if that's a reason for Max Holloway to go down to featherweight. I think he looked fantastic at lightweight. It was a question that I had. Can he hold that lightweight frame? And when the fight against Poirier, it was so clear that he was not able to hold that kind of frame next to Poirier's. That's different now. That's different. He's ranked number 9 currently in the lightweight division. This is a fighter that could fight one time. Max Holloway is now just the 3rd. I mean, this is one fight. It could be Charles Oliveira. It doesn't have to be necessarily a spectacular fight. And as long as it's above him, I think that he should be in line for a title shot against Islam Makhachev if he sees so fit. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, let me ask you this though: do you think he'll see fit to fight him?
If you are asking me what is best right now for Max Holloway, I hope that and I don't know the declaration on this because the BMF belt should be treated as unique. I don't think he should have to put it on a line versus a champion. I think that should be something kind of like in the olden days when they used to fight without putting championships on the line, even if they had a belt. I don't think the BMF belt should be just paraded around like that. It feels right in Holloway's hand, and he can headline an event as the BMF title holder, even if he loses. I think that's the best way to go for the UFC, is to make that belt not one that he has to give up every single time he fights. Let him keep it. Then I don't see him winning against Islam Makhachev. I don't see the wrestling holding up. So go back, give it your shot versus Ilia Topuria. That is not an easier matchup. Ilia Topuria is a killer. The issue is what do you do after he wins the championship? For Holloway, he now has the opportunity, if he gets to keep the BMF belt, to say, I've won that. Now I might relinquish it and go fight for the BMF. Or maybe I'll go fight for the BMF. I don't have to fight this division right now. Maybe he goes up and fights, or maybe Sean O'Malley comes up and fights him. Like, that's a possibility. The issue is, though, after that, it becomes, when is Volkanovski going to get a shot to knock down Holloway for a billionth time and reclaim his championship off of Holloway? Nobody wants to see Volkanovski regain a championship off of beating Holloway, but that could be a possibility if he goes featherweight. It's so interesting. I think that is one of the more fun topics of the UFC thus far. But there's more to talk about. In fact, the next fight, despite having like a little bit of this strange effect, after you see a fight like that just hit so many emotion chords for humans, it's hard to then regather yourself and then fall right back into focus and love with fighting. And Zhang Weili and Yan Xionan did that really quickly because they put on a burner. Zhang is crazy good. She's a crazy good championship for that division as well, that strawweight division. Wow. I mean, in the first round, getting the submission, choking her out at the final second, yet Xionan waking up almost, and hats off to Xionan. I know that's not easy. You can't. Yan did not have an easy go there, being choked out, having just seconds to kind of give herself the illusion of being good and well and getting to the corner. It gets to the corner. And then the next round, it feels like one round later, Zhang Weili's throwing 70 ground strikes, and suddenly Yan Xionan reverses the position, and you're saying, oh my gosh, did Weili tire herself out? We've seen this so many times. And in title fights as well. This isn't something that eludes champions. This is a human condition. And yet Zhang Weili was able to overpower, throw those strikes, still be able to regain enough energy to close out in the final rounds. It's a decision. and not all decisions are equal. That's what I'll say right here. Zhang Weili put in a masterclass performance that should be considered the best, one of the best performances in that division championship's history. And now it's just who's left for Tatiana Suarez. Or I'm sorry, for Zhang Weili, and it is Tatiana Suarez. I gave it up a little bit. 10-0, young fighter, but what else in that division really is there that can hold a candle to what Weili was showing? I mean, I think of all this as tape, and what strawweight in that division is going to say, I have tape that shows that this could be an interesting matchup? To me, it's the wrestling, it's the jiu-jitsu prowess of Tatiana Suarez that could offer some sort of complication for Zhang Weili, because right now, that fight, she had so many opportunities to lose. I mean, she went all out there, put it on the line, and then existed for 2 or 3 more rounds. And it's faulty to say existed, because it really wasn't. She was putting in work really 4 out of the 5 rounds. And what are your thoughts on that, Jake? What are your thoughts on that fight?
Yeah, that was a really good fight. After that, I don't know what you call it, but when she was put to sleep, I was like, okay, this has got to be it. This has got to be it. And then like her eyes open and she like walks back. I'm like, oh my gosh, like she's still in this. I was shocked. But just the fact that she tried afterwards. She threw her punches. It wasn't like she totally just gave up after that. So I think that was really, really impressive.
Yeah, and great point. Yan Xionan, that was an exceptional fighter. There was like talk about, is this the UFC just trying to position Chinese fighter versus Chinese fighter on the biggest card? It wasn't. That was spectacular. When I look up and down this rankings now, it's hard for me to find another fighter that can offer something that Yan did not to Zhang Weili, and I think that's the difference there. Finally, I give out 2 awards here. These awards go for low self-esteem awards. Bo Nickel, Arman Tsarukyan. Your fights were fantastic. Bo Nickel, you finished him in the 2nd round. I get it was Cody Brundage. Maybe you wanted it to be a ranked opponent. You finished him in the 2nd round. What's with the, I'm not impressed with my performance. Whatever. High five. You're awesome. Get out of here, okay? You're going to be fighting ranked opponents next. I see Fluffy Anderson is who we called out next. I believe number 12 on the rankings. Fantastic. I would love to see a lot of those matchups. Imamov is in that division, I believe, at number 8. I like that matchup as well. Paul Craig has a fight already in the works in a few weeks here, but Paul Craig versus that would be something. That would be really something. The wrestling of Bo Nickel, the jiu-jitsu of Paul Craig. Let's see it. And finally, Arman Tsarukyan. I get it was to me, Arman Tsarukyan also wins the bad luck award. He slipped right into an opening choke against the guy with the most submissions in the UFC. Like, how do you put yourself in a worse position to start the fight? And then at the very end, too, it was almost a slip. I do feel like Oliveira had some part to play in that last slip more than the first slip. The first slip was just, what happens. But the last slip, too, put him in horrible position. Yet, to me, it felt like Tsarukyan answered every question against one of the hardest guys to answer these questions. Again, I mean, you went to the ground in a terrible position, took 2 minutes, stayed down there for 2 minutes, worked yourself to a better position, and got out of there. You even reversed it. So, hey, answer a lot of tests. Pat yourself on the back, Arman Tsarukyan. You're going to be a champion in this division. I'm calling it right now. I've called it. I've called Sean O'Malley. I've called Taporia all at the same time. You're the next one. To me, I just say, relax a little bit, celebrate the win. We're going to celebrate our win here because that is a wrap for today's show, the Blake and Jake Show on KCOU 88.1 FM. I invite listeners to follow our show's Instagram, the Blake and Jake Show, no spaces, to keep up with the boys and follow the show closer. Your support means the world to us. If you caught part of the show, but not the whole show, or maybe you want to hear the whole show over again, check us out on Spotify and YouTube at The Blake and Jake Show. It has been an absolute pleasure, and we hope to see you next week for another episode of The Blake and Jake Show, Wednesdays at 2 p.m. on KCOU 88.1 FM. Thank you for listening.